Hey there! Welcome to the Next Quick Start video. We're going to show you how to connect your Next project to Prepr CMS and make a simple blog app. But before we dive in, you need the latest version of Node installed, a free Prepr account, and make sure you load demo content when you create your environment in Prepr. You can get all the links and the complete repo used in this video in our docs. And just a heads up, this video only covers the integration to Prepr, so we won't be including any styling. But don't worry, you can check out our complete starter guide for Next if you need those details. In this video, we follow the Next Quick Start guide in our docs. So let's start. We need to create a Next project. Open up your terminal and execute this command. In our case, we are calling our project Prepr Next. Simply press Enter to choose the default settings. When it finishes, this command creates a Next version 13 project. Go to your project root directory. Then do an npm run dev to launch your Next app. Head over to the local host to check out your new Next project. And there you go. Your Next app is now up and running. Let's do a quick test. Go ahead and open up your Next project in your favorite code editor and update the page in the app folder with your own heading. Next.js introduced new features to create shared layouts for version 13, so we also need to update the layout.js. Let's add a simple layout. Once that's done, clear out the globals.css to remove the existing formatting. Now, when you refresh the page, you'll see your blog app. Great. Okay, let's move on to the next step and install the Apollo client. Why do we need it? Well, we want to connect to Prepr CMS using the GraphQL API, and the Apollo client is a tool that helps us with that. So go back to your code editor and install the Apollo client module with this command. No issues. Great. Now let's get that Apollo client configured in our project. Put the Apollo client config in a folder called Services. In this file, add the Prepr config to import and define the Apollo client. Take note that the Apollo client needs an access token. Let's switch over to Prepr to get it. We need to connect to a specific Prepr environment. Log into your Prepr account and grab the access token from the Prepr environment that you want to connect to. Check out our docs on which one to choose. Let's follow good practice and store the access token in an environment variable. All right, we're connected to Prepr. But before we get too excited, let's make sure our config is error-free. Close the server that you started before and execute an npm install command. If there are no errors, do an npm run dev again. And there you have it. We're ready for the next step. So our blog site is connected to Prepr, but we want to fetch some articles to show on our site. To do that, let's create a query in the project. Create a new folder to store all your queries and put a new file in there. For the blog site, we want to get articles from the Prepr CMS. Let's retrieve an ID, a slug, and a title for each of the articles. Now that our query is done, let's fetch the articles from Prepr and show them in our blog site. To fetch the data, update the main page in the app folder. The code does a few things. First, it imports the Apollo client and the query that we just created. Then, it uses a predefined method to make the query request. Before we display the query results on our app, let's output the query results to the terminal. Great. Now that the data is being fetched, let's add some HTML to display the list of articles. Update the layout in the page to display the list of articles with each article title. Now when you go back to your local host, you can see the list of articles. Wonderful. We're almost there. All that's left is to add links and fetch the article details so that we can view a new page for a specific article. Let's do that now. First, import the link component from Next. Then add links to the article titles on the page. In the link, we use the article slug to identify the new page. When you go back to the local host, you can see the links, but we haven't created the page to fetch each article's details yet. So when we click on an article, we get a page 404. But take a look at the URL. The slug of the article we clicked is there. Next, let's create another query for the article details. This query gets an article by its slug and returns some text and image content. We want another page to display the details of one article, and we want this routing to be dynamic based on the slug, so this page goes into a special folder. Let's fetch the data we need to show on our new page. So, remember how we got the list of articles? Well, now we add similar code to the article detail page. Just like before, we first need to import the Apollo client and the query, and then execute it. In this case, we make sure to set a value for the slug argument when requesting an article. When we want to display the data, we need to call the function that executes the query. We pass it an argument for the slug. Notice that we have some extra code to grab the slug from the URL. Finally, we display the article title and the article content that contains one or more images and text. Now when you go back to the local host and click on an article, you can see a detailed article page. Congratulations! You created a blog app connected to Prepr in under 10 minutes. For more info on what to do next, check out our docs.